Hi, my name is AJ, and I'm going to tell you what I'm ready for. If you know anything about me, which you probably don't, one of my favorite Nintendo games is Jaws, the licensed IP from the movie that's absolutely nothing like the movie. Uh, Jaws is a pretty simple game where you drive a boat around back and forth between two ports trying to power up your little diver guy that shoots spears and try to eradicate the local manta ray and jellyfish population. I like that game because of the variety of gameplay, but I think what we're ready for is a genuine remake of it. There's a lot of opportunity. Once I saw the remake for Final Fantasy VII, where they decided, oh, we can rebuild all of the artwork and cutscenes from the ground up, we can even change the actual combat of the game. We can do that to one of my favorite games. And here's the way that I feel like we should do it. I think you could keep the general vibe of the game essentially the same and just upgrade everything, of course, with graphics and things like that. And I've seen examples of games that this would work really well with. For example, the overworld boating section, which is a large portion of the game, I think you could reskin Dredge, which means that I think you could bring in the studio that made the game Dredge. And if you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic game where you drive a boat around a little harbor and you bring up fish and stuff out of the bottom of the ocean to complete an adventure. But it's so spot on with its scaling and its pacing that I think it could really work as a overworld for a Jaws remake. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the actual dive sequences. I feel like you could add entire layers to it, essentially using a similar engine to something like Endless Ocean or something like that, and just give the guy a spear gun. Because what I would like to see is the feeling of dread of, is this a normal diving experience, or am I going to run into sharks or Jaws himself in this diving experience, which is one of the things that made the original game so very fun. I feel like you could add a lot of tension with the shark detector. We could probably bring more elements in from the movie while staying true to the video game that was nothing like the movie, including certain discrepancies like flying a plane. I would love to keep the bonus section of flying a plane to hunt to bomb jellyfish and use just a 3D engine. Now, I don't know what you would use for that. I mean, there's a million 3D flyer models, whatever, that you could use to make an interesting bonus section, or even use it for whale spotting or shark spotting. Different things to make money, to upgrade your boat or upgrade your equipment. I feel like you could add a lot of very interesting layers to this game, and it would be really fun to play. You could add elements of tension to be able to play it. If you've never played Jaws for the NES, you're just a boat. You're not in the Orca from the movie. It looks nothing like that boat. And you don't hunt Jaws in the same way. In the original video game, there's no oceanographer going down in a cage. There's no tranquilizer spear gun. You just have a spear gun. There's even a mini submarine, which I'm not sure was in not even Jaws 3D. I could be mistaken about that. But I would like to see almost a combining of both elements. And so we figure, how do you do that? Well, I think that you rework the storyline. Maybe it's a prequel and it's not the Jaws from the movie Jaws, but it's another large shark, and maybe it's a young Quint, and it's the orca when it was new. Or maybe it's a completely different universe where it's a different shark hunter, and they're coming up, and it's their way of, they've got more resources, or they're using a different methodology to try to hunt down Jaws or some other large shark. The original video game was so open, I guess, because they were just going off of a concept and not the actual book or even the movie, that it sort of leaves it open to a lot of different kinds of interpretation and a lot of possibilities for really interesting gameplay. I think that you could do a lot of things with shrouded distances and things coming into the ocean from the darkness. And I'm thinking vibes, something like Subnautica, something like that. I think you could involve a lot more crafting and bartering and an economy into the world, which would be really fun and interesting, and add a lot of depth to a game that I already love. And that's what I'm ready for. This, I don't think it would have to be a super huge game or a super complicated game, and you could really uh, build in the scope to be small, almost to the point of being claustrophobic, without the game feeling small. You could add layers on top of layers of what is essentially a narrow cake, to go on with the metaphor. But that's what I want to see. Now, I'm not a video game developer, so I'm calling on you. And I'm going to keep calling on you until you do what I want. Anyway, my name's AJ, and I'm ready.